What's up guys, it's Ryan here and today I'm here with the LG G2 and today we're going to talk about whether the LG G2 is worth buying in 2017. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the LG G2 was released in 2013 alongside the Galaxy S4 and mainly to compete with the Galaxy S4 and iPhone 5s. And it did well indeed, with big display and smaller chassis, with huge battery, with that optical image stabilization on the camera, with great battery life. It did really well in terms of competing with other flagships. And I did like it and I bought it right away in 2013. And it continues to serve me really well. Surprisingly well. I was actually kind of surprised on how well this device performs even in 2017. So let's get good things out of the way first, starting off with the display. And not just because the display quality being awesome, although it is, it's just because the way LG did, like cramming in this big, gorgeous 5.2-inch display on a footprint that is like comparable to something like the Galaxy S4, which has smaller display, which is like ridiculously surprising. You can see the bottom bezel and the side bezel and top bezel is all so tiny, and they really help on handheld devices like the phones, because fat bezels are unsightly. So LG's devices are always equipped with like super thin bezels, which I like a lot. So that display also happens to be a good display. You can see off-axis viewing angles are pretty good. Also, the color saturation is pretty decent, and brightness is also pretty good. And also, color is very accurate. It's not like stupidly oversaturated like Samsung's display, which always, gave me the vibe of like super saturation, which I don't really like. I much prefer the natural color reproduction of the LG G2 and its display, which is really nice to look at. And also, that surprise, continues under the hood. The LG G2 has Snapdragon 800 processor clocked at 2.26 GHz with 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. Unfortunately, every model except for the Korean version doesn't have expandable storage, which is unfortunate. Mine happens to be a Korean version, so you pop up in the back cover and it's access the battery and SD card. But for pretty much any other versions, you cannot expand any further. But 32 gigabytes is just fine. I have been able to get through it just fine, so really no issues there. And let's get to the camera. So on the back, you're looking at the 13 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture with optical image stabilization without protruding all that much, which is surprising again. And the camera software is really good. Although I'm not using the stock ROM, the photo output is still excellent, and the video output is still really nice with beautiful colors and pretty nice audio. Although it's not one of the better audios, it's still better than average, I'll say. And also, other good stuff, the battery life is pretty decent. I'm not gonna say it's amazing. I'm not gonna say it's gonna destroy like Motorola's Razr Max or your Galaxy Note 3 or Note 2. It's not that. But the embedded battery does a pretty decent job in terms of battery life. I'll say I can get through a day pretty easily despite my heavy usage, and that's all I can say. It's pretty decent. Also, call quality is actually pretty decent, and front-facing camera is not too bad either, so there's that. Also, the headphone jack quality is pretty exceptional. There's like 24-bit Dolby audio in the background with the headphone jack, so that's kind of nice to have. Also, the curved construction on the back makes it really nice to hold. Like, it's very grippable. You don't really feel that's, oh man, this is like ridiculously large phone. It feels kind of manageable. I actually kind of think is, not unwieldy to hold. It's very nice to hold. It's a very nice phone to hold. Though with that glossy plastic, it feels a little bit chintzy. But speaking of chintzy, let's get to the bad part. Not bad, but not a bad part. It's just subjectively not so awesome parts of the LG G2. Starting off with the design. I personally don't think the design looks bad, but it doesn't look great either. The inconsistent lines and also the glossy plastics on the back makes it look like a Galaxy device from several years ago, which is not exactly awesome. Thankfully, the LG G3 looks so much better than the LG G2 and some other LG phones. I don't know why LG went with the curved constructions with their phones starting from the LG Optimus G Pro. I wish they kept their angular design from the Optimus G and some other phones on their generation. But yeah, that's one gripe. The design is not ridiculously, my favorite. It's just kind of there. Although I've been able to tolerate it just fine. And then the, just not model, but there's some kind of fragmentation with the LG G2 models. The Verizon version looks awful on the back. And also, Korean version has this removable back that no other versions have with a terribly small battery, 2610 milliamp hour battery with SD card slot, which is kind of nice. But of course, pretty much any other versions doesn't have the SD card slot and has huge embedded 3000 milliamp hour battery, which is a bigger deal than it sounds like. I mean, come on, 2600 versus 3000. There's some fragmentations in terms of models on the LG G2, which I don't like. I wish it was all the same across the board, like Samsung does with the Galaxy S4 and above. I wish that was the case with the LG G2. Thankfully, they have been doing that ever since the LG G3. So, thumbs up LG. I love ya. And also, just the entire build quality is nothing special. I'm not gonna say it feels terribly cheap or, I'm not saying that it feels like trash or something like that. It definitely feels slightly more solid than the Galaxy S4, which feels ridiculously chintzy. But this is not much better. Glossy plastics on the sides and glossy plastic on the back. I know I can put a skin on it, but that shouldn't be a main solution to the in-hand feel of a device, in my opinion anyways. And also, since the bezels are so slim, whenever I'm gripping the phone the wrong way, I actually sometimes, very rarely, get some unintentional touches, although this is not a big deal at all. And also, the audio from this speaker port is alright. I mean, it's not gonna blow away any other device out there. It's better than the Galaxy S4, which has an awful speaker. I mean, pretty much all Samsung devices have awful speakers, but this one is just okay. I mean, it's nothing like awesome speaker on BlackBerry Classic or Moto Xperia Edition or HTC One devices. But this one is alright. I mean, the bass is fine, but the volume is a little low, especially in half, 50%. It doesn't make any kind of noises, which is not that cool. But speaking of cool, you see the overall speed with this custom ROM. I'm actually gonna leave you this link of this custom ROM in the card right up there, so you're gonna be able to check out this ROM. It's a CyanogenMod 14.1 ROM, which you probably saw my video of. If not, go check that video out in the little eye up there. But it's actually pretty fast as well. Snapdragon 800 is screamer, but build quality kinda lets me down a little bit, although it's not a deal breaker. And if you can handle glossy plastics, you're gonna be totally fine with the LG G2, and I totally recommend it. But if you want uncompromising build quality, this is not it. But if you're looking for a cheap phone that will get the job done, also has beautiful display with awesome camera on the back with some custom ROM capabilities, then the LG G2 is certainly gonna be worth it for you. I got mine for $80 around my local Korean store somewhere around my house. But on eBay, it's probably gonna hover around $80 to $100, which is not a bad price at all for this beast of a phone. If you can handle the glossy plastics, I wholeheartedly recommend the LG G2, and it is certainly a good device, or in some cases, great device, in 2017, and I still love using it in 2017, and I have no complaints at all. So that's about it for the LG G2. I really recommend you guys to check this phone out. And yeah, I want to know from you guys. Are you gonna pick this LG G2 up for yourself in 2017? Yes or no? Leave it down in the comments. If you have any kind of questions, leave them down in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed this video, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And also, if you see more videos like this, definitely be sure to subscribe. Anyway, guys, peace out.